welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the GSL Code A. I am Moltrap. With me here is Wolf.
Hey Moltrap, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
We saw some awesome games earlier. I'm actually really excited. I didn't come to the studio, but I was actually sitting at home watching all of those. And I gotta say, they were pretty awesome.
They were great games.
And for those of you guys who didn't watch those, go watch them. Turn this off because I'm going to talk about it a lot today. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But and now that I've given that spiel, MC is out. We are in the danger days here. This is the round of 32. I always call it the danger days because it's dangerous.
Yep.
Everyone here their careers could end.
It's actually the danger day because we do most of the. Well, I guess we do. No, you're right. It's 2 days. It's a couple days. Never mind. We do half of the round of 32 today. I was like trying to be cool, but we actually do it all in one day. But I was like, wait, actually, no, we don't. Never mind.
It's over 2 days.
Yes, it's all on one page on the schedule. That's why I was confused. I'm just going to stop talking. All right, I'm done stopping talking. Here's the results from this morning in case you didn't catch it. SC taking out Revival. That was a really close series. That was actually a crazy series. Really back and forth. And Select taking out Alicia.
Yeah, that was an awesome series. Definitely go and watch that, see how that turned out. To see some great Terran versus Protoss. You know, Alicia didn't play terribly either, but Select really just... I don't know what to say. You guys just have to watch the VODs. Kyrix lost to GumiHo earlier, and, you know, it's sad to see Kyrix go. He was such a legend. The legend of Kyrix versus Marine King will always live on. The Baneling aggression that we saw from Kyrix will always be in everyone's hearts. And MC, like we said, lost to Monster, who I thought played terribly and yet still played well enough to knock out MC. MC is out of the GSL. OUT out.
Is that how you spell it?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's how you spell it. Now here is Slayer's YugiOh, our first player of the day here. He made it to the round of 16 last season, just good enough to stay in Code A.
Yep. Managed to get through last season and is back here again to try it one more time. Well, maybe not just one more time, but yeah, last season, trying to check, forgot who he beat last season.
I don't remember either.
I think it was one of the foreigners? Was it one of the Swedes? I don't know, I'll double check. Anyway, he has been kind of in and out of the GSL. We've seen him a little bit in the Team League, and oh, that's why the volume controls weren't working. Sorry.
We're wearing each other's headsets.
Oh, how cute is that?
The wires.
We crossed the streams. Anyway, yeah, we've kind of seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Around a lot, and he hasn't really distinguished himself just yet, but he has got a chance here.
Here's ShinyStar. Now, ShinyStar's one accomplishment in the GSL was beating Genro 2 seasons ago. Or actually losing to Genro. Yeah, losing to Genro.
Yeah, that's his accomplishment.
Yeah, that was his accomplishment. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right.
Yu-Gi-Oh! By the way, like I thought, he beat Thorzane last season and then lost to Marine King, so that's why he is still here in Code A this season. But yeah, ShinyStar,
he's qualified twice.
We haven't really seen much of him, man. He has qualified twice, and that's an achievement in itself. But will he have what it takes to beat Yu-Gi-Oh!, who's a little bit more of a... Well, I will say a little bit more experienced than what I was going to call him a veteran for a second, but he's not exactly a veteran just yet.
Yeah, you know, I'm not 100% sure how this is going to turn out. I think ShinyStar definitely has a chance here. You know, I've been told time and time again by Koreans that ShinyStar actually has been recruited by teams, but his parents said no. Each time he qualifies, more teams approach him, and his parents just say, no, you can't. But he is wearing a Gugim shirt today.
I noticed that.
And I don't know if that means he might be going to Incredible Miracle anyways. It's really interesting. You know, we saw Phoenix wear a Gugum shirt before his team change was announced, and we may be seeing something like that here for ShinyStar.
We're going to find out, man. It is going to be a Zerg versus Protoss. ShinyStar, one of the few Protosses in this tournament. We're going to find out if he can take Game 1 in just a moment here at the GSL. All right, here is our Zerg player. Zerg player from the Team Slayers. And across Across from him is our Protoss player. Whoop. Oh, wow. Okay. We're not even going to give ShinyStar an introduction because YugiOh is actually 6-pooling. That is interesting. And this is actually going to be really bad for ShinyStar because he is sending his probe the exact wrong direction on this 4-player map. He is not going to scout this 6-pool until the Zerglings are already en route to his base, basically.
Yeah, this is going to be really tough for him to deal with. Now, if he's smart, he'll make a Forge first. You know, going Nexus first on this map can work, but it's very risky to do.
Yeah, especially if you haven't scouted.
And he does go Forge first. Now, he's going to want to make a second pylon, and he's not going to know that until he gets to his opponent's base. And actually, again, like you were saying, he's scouting his opponent's base last, and this is going to be really difficult to deal with. The 6 Zerglings have already been made. He's sending another scout, though.
Yeah, he's sending out another scout just to double check. He wants to know if he should save up for that Nexus or make a cannon, but he needs a pylon in his main. Now he sees the Zerglings.
He's going to have to make a pylon in his main. He immediately makes it. He's sending his second probe home as well. The first one, of course, being taken out just there. This is going to be pretty close. The Zerglings, though, are not going in the correct direction either because YugiOh wasn't able to scout. And because of that probe timing, he actually thought that his opponents are at different locations, so his Zerglings are actually going the completely wrong way.
Wow. And it's funny because he actually... Well, yeah, no, the other Zerglings are heading there. It's like he might have been able to get them with Canada as natural, but I don't think so. Wouldn't have been a good idea anyway. So Zerglings finally find where ShinyStar is. He's got a cannon warping in his main supply line already. These Zerglings are not going to do any damage at all.
Yeah, they're going to actually be completely deflected by these probes. He shouldn't lose anything at all. He is going to lose his Forge, but it's not a huge deal. Now, the gateway is going up here for ShinyStar back at his main base. And in fact, the Zergling is actually targeting the Forge and the pylon separately rather than targeting the pylon first, so he actually can continue making probes without even having that other pylon up yet. And I got to say, YugiOh has completely botched this.
Yeah, well, I mean, he got a little unlucky as well in the scouting. So he didn't know where to go with his Zerglings, so he couldn't really do any damage, unfortunately.
Well, Cybernetics Core is going up for ShinyStar. This probe is being very annoying for YugiOh. The team's trying to chase it away so he can make that hatchery.
He can actually reach this pylon.
Yeah, that
with
pylon
his Zerglings.
is very exposed.
I was a little surprised that he put his pylon all the way over there without getting a second cannon up. And his core is under fire as well. Zealot comes out, though, is going to deal with that situation.
Yeah, nice control on that Zealot. He's got to micro it really well here. That pylon's going to finish. But the core is still, you know, a little bit under fire. And if he loses that Zealot, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. He needs to make a Stalker immediately. There he goes. He's going to Chrono Boost that. He just now has enough energy. He's actually starting his second gas immediately as well. That probe still sneaking around at the third base of YugiOh.
He is doing a pretty good job of microing the Zealot around, making sure it doesn't get caught by the Zerglings. And just as I say that, he gets caught by the Zerglings and surrounded and killed. The Stalker's going to come out, and it's going to be the next line of defense, but didn't have to lose that Zealot. That was unnecessary.
With a good Stalker micro, you should be able to ward off all of these Zerglings because there's no speed.
Yeah.
In fact, there's no gas even taken yet. And the probe actually just got in the base and saw that.
Yeah.
All of the Zerglings retreating now, and it looks like he's actually going to follow this up with a Nexus. Going to be producing sentries. He's going to be careful with this Stalker, though. He may end up losing this pylon.
Stalker's running for the hills. As soon as the Lings turn on, he can start firing again, though. So this is not going to have too big of an effect.
There's just too few Lings to kill the Nexus. In fact, all he ended up losing there was the probe. There's now a sentry out to help as well. And here's what ShinyStar is going to do. He's going to wall off, add his choke point, add more gateways. And of course, when he adds those gateways, they're going to form a wall. He's going to be able to pump out more units. He's probably going to do a 4 or 5 gateway timing attack once his Nexus is up because his opponent is going to be trying to catch up on drones still. He wants to maybe take a third base. He's going to have to take a risk. And if ShinyStar decides to push out and punish him for that, he'll really regret it.
Yeah. Kind of reminds...
Another pylon going down for ShinyStar at the back of his base so we can get a little bit more vision of any attacks that might be going. It's very difficult for him to take the watchtowers right now because the Zerglings are roaming around. He doesn't have Zergling speed just yet. And right now he's still only made 5 Zerglings. I like that. after that initial round of Zerglings that he lost. He hasn't really made any more Zerglings. He's been completely droning up right now. It's 37 drones and 31 probes.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see ShinyStar just going for just mass gateways. Did he end up getting, how many gateways did he end up getting?
He's gone up to 4. He added a robotics facility.
Robotics facility, okay. I mean, it makes sense. After your opponent goes for something like that, they're going to be behind if you fend it off perfectly like that. So it makes sense to just go for a relatively early attack sort of play, because then your opponent is probably not going to have enough. They're either going to be caught with either too many drones or not enough drones,
exactly,
basically.
Yeah. Well, right now, he's adding a lot more sentries. He's gone up to 6 sentries and 2 stalkers. He's moving forward with those units now, chasing these slow Zerglings. And in fact, Zergling speed has just recently started. He's about a 5th of the way done with that. His lair, however, is almost done. I'm thinking we're going to see fast infestors here from Slayer's YugiOh. He's adding a ton of spines, adding an evolution chamber as well to be prepared to hold off this attack. More gateways going down now, though.
Yeah, and observers popping out as well, so you can just go ahead and scout exactly what's going on. And he is going to find that it is, in fact, fast infestors, like you thought it would be. And that makes a lot of sense. Kind of reminds me of what we saw earlier today with, trying to remember who that was, Monster versus MC. He kept going for fast infestors versus MC.
Yeah. Well, this timing attack from ShinyStar is going to be really difficult to defend. If he gets infestors out in time, it'll be exactly what he wants to defend this with. But, you know, he's probably going to start pathogen glands first, and there they go, starting those now. And he's going to have to wait for those to get close to being finished. I'm not sure if he's going to have enough. He does have a lot of spine crawlers. He's got 4 spines already, 2 more going up. He's got a decent amount of speedlings. This is still going to be hard to hold.
Yeah, this is going to be really tough to hold. There's no way the Zerglings can really affect that. The spine crawlers are his main line of defense right now. He doesn't have anything else to use.
Well, this is a pretty bad attack. He's actually trapping the Zerglings in here rather than deflecting them. He's losing a lot of stalkers, and that bought just enough time for YugiOh to get those 2 additional spines up. And even though he's warping in more zealots here, I don't think this is going to be enough now. The infestors are on the way.
Yeah, at least he did kill off the Zerglings, though. Here he is moving in. A couple force fields go down to make sure Zerglings can't stream through. He's going to trap the Queen as well. And he's just going to go ahead and just pick off all these spine crawlers before YugiOh can reinforce with anything, is what he's trying to do. More zealots coming in to replace the ones that died on that wall of spines. He actually only killed 1 or 2 spines there, so he's not making too much progress just yet.
And the infestors are out. They have the energy because they got the upgrade, and now he's just going to slowly bundle these units to death. The spine's doing so much damage. 1
more fungal should kill everything. There it goes. All the sentries go down. Most of the stalkers die. The spine crawlers fall, but that's exactly what they were there for, was to buy that time and eat that damage. And he looks like he's going to deflect this, but he's still got a couple fungals in the bank.
Yeah, if he just fungals these zealots, of course, they won't be able to move. They'll regenerate their shields slowly, but he can buy a lot of time with those fungals. Fungals again. And I got to say, this has been a great follow-up for YugiOh to his 6 pool. You know, I didn't expect him to be able to come back from that, at least not as easily. You know, he's actually just kind of transitioned beautifully into adding a ton of spines to hold up any timing attack, and then went straight into infestors.
Yeah, he held that off really, really well. And yeah, those fungals, they came in just in time.
Well, while these infestors recharge energy, there's more infestors being added. He's getting +2 melee weapons. But back at ShinyStar's base, he's getting a robotic support bay. His Twilight Council is going up. His Forge is going up. He's going to start getting some upgrades. And, you know, he's not out of this yet. He did hold that attack. He killed a lot of Protoss units, but he still doesn't have a 3rd base yet. And those infestors, even though they're a great support unit, he doesn't have any beefy units yet. He doesn't really have any roaches. He doesn't have a lot of speedlings right now.
Yeah, he's starting to make some roaches, but doesn't have a ton just yet. And you're right, the infestors, they're in the end, they're support units. And you need something else with them to protect them. Otherwise, they can, you know, well, later on in the game, they can go in and blink in, for instance, and pick off your infestors. If there's any Templar out, which Templar Archives is on the way, feedbacks will just destroy those infestors. So you need something along with that, although... So it's going to be hard for him to get up his 3rd and try and get those support units, or the meat units, I guess. At the same time.
Exactly. Well, he's adding a ton of speedlings, 16, actually 22 speedlings in production right now. He already has 19 out. He's going to have about 41 in total. He's adding 2 more infestors. He's going to have 14 infestors. He's just got a few roaches out, about 4 in total. He's actually going to do this really, really strong timing attack that we actually saw fail earlier today against MC, but I think this one, with a ton of infested Terrans placed well, it should be able to work. Thermal Lance is done. Here come the infested Terrans now, dropping a ton of them on the other side of the gateway. Nice force field, though, blocks out speedlings, but these infested Terrans are doing tons of damage.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to target everything down. Oh, so many infested Terrans, but the Colossus remains alive and is doing tons of damage. Nice force fields, keeping the Zerglings out as well. I think this attack is just going to fail.
Yeah, the
he
second
killed a lot of
Colossus
stalkers,
but Thermal Lance is finishing. He has enough force field energy to keep trapping these Zerglings out. And you know, I thought this might be enough to break. ShinyStar, but to be honest, the force fields were just too good. The Zerglings couldn't get inside. If the Zerglings had gotten in, things would have gone a lot differently. But even so, the third base of YugiOh has gotten up. He's still got a supply lead right now. The worker count is 66 drones to 50 probes. He didn't lose any infestors. So even though that attack was not very successful, all he really traded was energy.
Yeah, that was exactly the same thing that we saw Monster do against MC earlier. Exactly, except he executed a little bit better. So he actually killed like a few units instead of 0 units, but it still didn't do enough. He killed like, 5, 10 units, maybe some stalkers and a couple sentries or something like that.
He didn't kill a lot of units.
If the Colossus hadn't been there, it would have been a lot different story, but the Colossus just mowed down those infested Terrans so quickly, and there's now some Corruptors out as well.
Yeah, there's some Corruptors out. Neural Parasite is being researched. +1 Carapace is on the way. 3-base Hive coming out here, and this is basically going to be, I think, the new style of DBP, where you go very infestor heavy. You stay on 3 bases on a map like this for a while. You don't take a 4th until you feel completely ready to do it. Instead, you just put on relentless pressure with your infestors, because all you have to do is trade energy. You don't actually have to lose your infestors. You can just trade some energy.
Yeah.
These Zerglings and Roaches are a little ahead of themselves. They're going to get caught out in the middle of the map.
Yeah, the fact that he kept all of his infestors alive, it was key, because then they can just go home and rebuild their energy, and then they're just as good as new.
Exactly. They're going to have Neural very soon. Right now, he's gone up to 8 Corruptors. I'll give you the unit composition. It's very unusual for a Zerg player. 12 Zerglings, 2 Roaches, 8 Corruptors, and 14 Infestors. That is his composition, of course, against the Protoss army of 2 Stalkers, 3 Colossi, 5 Sentry, 3 High Templar, and 20 Zealots.
20
Those
Zealots.
Infestors are going to be quite good against the Zealots, because the Zealots will be immobile. They won't be able to close distance.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome there, by the way. Did you catch that? He fungled the Observer next to the Corruptors, just picked it off. Very slick move there. Taking the vision out. Now, here's the thing. Storm is about to complete.
Yeah, Storm is going to be completed. He's got those High Templar out that are going to be good against the Infestors. He's got a lot of energy building up on those High Templar as well, so if he decides to, he can just actually use all of his energy for feedback rather than Storm.
That would actually be really strong against what he has.
Plus, these Archons, are going to do a ton of damage. Even if Archons get bungled, they just have so many shields, and they can just cut through those Zerglings very quickly.
Yep, and of course, fungal growth does not stop in place. Large, massive units.
Yeah.
And Archons are massive.
Now, something that's really smart, again, YugiOh has gone up to 10 spines at the front of his natural. He's completely prepared for a timing attack. He needs to take a 4th base, and in fact, he's taking one at the bottom right. So, YugiOh, I feel like, is playing this so smartly. He's getting, right now, Adrenal Glands and +3 melee weapons as he gets 6 Broodlords. He's having the perfect composition for what ShinyStar has, but ShinyStar still has a strong army, but if he doesn't move out soon or take a 4th base soon, he's going to get overrun. As these armies fight each other, it's going to be a better trade constantly for a Zerg player, because he just has a composition that can trade quite easily and he can remax, whereas ShinyStar really doesn't have an army like that.
Yeah, not to mention there's basically nothing in ShinyStar's army to deal with these Broodlords. There's nothing for them. There's a few Stalkers. He could try and storm them, but that would not be very efficient. There's a couple Archons. There's like 2 Archons and 2 Stalkers or something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's 2 Archons, 2 Stalkers, 5 Sentries. That's not going to work. He's going to need to make a Stargate switch of some kind or start adding more Stalkers into the mix. And in fact, he does add 2 Stargates into his main. Catches an Observer again. The Queen is lazy, though. She doesn't... There she goes. Takes that out. But 2 Stargates are being added. He's going to start pumping Void Rays. Here's the Broodlord siege up, though.
And And there are just so many of them. They're taking out pylons so quickly. The Broodlings even, he's targeting the Broodlings over to the probes. Brilliant move. And this is forcing ShinyStar to move out to try and engage over on the side of the map where those Broodlords are coming from.
He's actually going to try to avoid, I think, the army of YugiOh. He's kind of got his units split in the middle, but he's actually not engaging the main force. A lot of Infested Terrans being deployed here to help defend these Broodlords because he expects Void Rays to be coming out, but they're not out yet. In fact, his Stargate's just finished up at home. He's getting his first 2 right now. And it looks like ShinyStar's just going to counterattack to the main, but there are tons of Spines waiting for him.
Tons of Spines and Infestors coming in from behind with Neural Parasite. He storms the Zerglings, but if he gets a Neural on some of those Colossus, he fungals the Colossus. Interesting choice there. Since it doesn't really stop them, it doesn't do a ton of damage. Throwing down some Infested Terrans
as well, yeah. But the Broodlords are doing a lot of damage. Nice Storm on the Broods. The Broods take a ton of damage from the Storm because, of course, they can't really move out very easily. But look at all the Speedlings. They have Adrenal Glands. They're about to have +3 weapons. I don't know if ShinyStar's army can hold a Storm. It's a lot of the High Templar. Was that a knurled Storm?
I have no idea, man. I actually didn't catch that, if that was happened. But if it did, that was awesome. And now the Broodlords, though, can just clean up now that all the other units are gone. And YugiOh takes a commanding lead by about, oh my god.
How about 100 supply?
120 supply up on him.
Now, during all of this, ShinyStar did do some harassment at the bottom right base, but it doesn't matter that much because YugiOh has already taken the 3 o'clock base, and he's got a huge army. He took out the Nexus during all of this harassment. There's no Nexus. It hasn't even been rebuilt. He sent some Infested Terrans over here to possibly attack it, but it didn't work. Now, these Zealots are going to do some more damage, though, because there isn't really an answer for this. Some Spines were about to go up, but aren't up in time, so he's going to kill a lot of drones. But even so, he has no answer for the giant YugiOh force outside of his base. It's like a Blue Eyes White Dragon is knocking on his front door.
Yeah, he's just going to destroy that entire remains of that front door. He's throwing down some Infested Terrans preemptively, which is a smart move because they take a while to hatch. And so if you throw them down while the Void Rays are on top of you, it just doesn't work as well. And yeah, Zealot's stalling out that third base, but it doesn't actually matter, I don't think, at this point.
And the
but Templar coming in!
They're coming in here. The Templar are going to get a nice Storm off, but it just is not doing enough damage. And a few more Infested Terrans are going to go down here, try to keep those Void Rays away. Even a Queen joining in. She has enough energy for 2 transfuses right now.
Yeah, he already was transfusing the Broodlords as they were getting stormed to make sure they didn't die. Infested Terrans coming in. They're going to take out the cannon and force back the Void Rays. He doesn't want to get too close because if he gets those Void Rays fungled, it's the end of the Void Rays and the game.
And it's looking like these Infested Terrans are trying to step micro forward, doing a little bit of damage to these Void Rays, but keeping them at base so the Broodlords can do the real damage.
And he actually does get 1 Void Ray with them. Tossing down some Infested Terrans. He Neural Parasites one of the Void Ray.
Why not? I mean, it's a great choice in this scenario.
And if he gets 1 fungal, there's the fungal. It's going to kill one of the Void Rays. He can just keep fungling them.
Yeah,
to keep
he's
them in
going to
place.
drop a few more Infested Terrans or fungal.
GG!
YugiOh, man, he played his yellow-eyed Broodlord card in that game. Actually, the Broodlords have eyes. I don't think they have eyes. Do the hills have eyes?
I don't know, man. I'm sorry, I never played Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't worry, because I'm sure ShinyStar may have to activate his incredible Miracle Trap card pretty soon.
Oh. What is a trap card anyway? Is it just
a trap card is
like
a card
counter?
that a trap card is something that you play face down, and your opponent doesn't know if it's a magic or a trap card. And whenever you do anything, any sort of action, it can activate the trap card. So your opponent, you know it might be a trap, you're not sure, and he flips it over and says, "You've activated my trap card," and then the trap card has an effect. And that's kind of how it works.
I did not know that. Learn something new. Learn something new every day about Yu-Gi-Oh!
You can ask John. He's actually here today. I'm sure he could give you a lot of tips.
He could probably give you some tips about Yu-Gi-Oh!
There's actually so many Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards on the ground recently. I saw.
Yeah, I've been seeing them now too.
I looked on the ground. I was like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards on the ground. Yu-Gi-Oh's playing today. What's going on?
Kind of weird.
I don't know why in Korea and Seoul I've seen just a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards on the ground.
I've only seen it in Mokdong though.
I've seen it in Mokdong. I've seen it in some other places as well. You've seen some in Hongdae, and I don't know why, but there are Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards on the ground.
I've seen other cards littered on the ground too, but we won't talk about those.
I've seen those cards.
They're the kinds of cards that you see littered on the ground in Vegas.
He's not
anyway,
talking about greeting cards.
No. So, speaking of which, YugiOh tore ShinyStar a new one there.
After 6 pooling,
don't
forget.
He just dominated him. Yeah, ShinyStar was ahead after the 6 pool was botched. And he's like, I don't actually care. I'm just going to expand anyway and somehow get a better economy than you. And then get 9 infestors at the perfect moment and fungal your whole army.
He never lost those infestors, really.
No.
Same at 14 infestors he had at the beginning of the game, he had at the end of the game. They kept rebuilding energy, and he just kept trading energy for armies, buying time, getting more bases up. He took the bottom right base. He wasn't really able to use it, but he took the 3 o'clock base after that. And he was going basically 3 base Broodlords, but because, he spent a lot of gas on infestors, but he never lost them, so he never had to spend more gas to replace them, and then he was able to get Broodlords out. He got Adrenal Glands up, plus 3 melee attacks. Anyway, we're going to jump into Game 2 here at the GSL Code A. I am Wolf, with me is Moltrap. Don't go anywhere. We're already in the game.